I think it went pretty well. I had an opportunity to sort of show what this election's really about, which is, I think, it's about the big ideas, not the big bank accounts. And I believe that I have the best plan for the economy and jobs. I feel like we have the best plan for education, and we have the best plan for affordable housing. I think the voters really need to take a serious consideration and look at that. Yeah, I think so. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times where we are in agreement on certain things, and there's times where we're not. I think the crowd saw that generally what I represent as an independent is the ability to take the best ideas from either party. I don't have to, if they have any ideas, of course, but I'm not beholden to party politics. I'm not beholden to the left or the right, and I'm the only candidate who could break the blue-red divide.
Is that what you feel like sets you apart from the other two?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we mentioned Governor Weicker. He was the last governor, independent governor, to win. Yes, he had a history as a senator, but the point was he brought in the income tax at the time. It was popular. Now it's not. I understand. But the point is he still worked with both parties in order to move Connecticut forward in a substantial way. In fact, on stage, Ned referenced the 2017 legislative session. Guess what's important about that? There was no, they had to work together in order to put those controls in place. And that is critical that Connecticut voters need to remember and realize.
What do you say to those who feel that you're going to detract from a major party candidate?
I think that ranked choice voting is the answer. If you're at home and you're thinking, oh my God, spoiler vote, I like Rob a lot, but I gotta vote against Ned or against Bob. There's a lot of anti-voting going on. I think you need to take a serious look at me. And what I would do in my first 30 to 60 days is introduce a ranked choice voting bill. What does that mean? It means that you can essentially pick 1, 2, 3, and the moment your person that you don't like is out, you get your second choice. It really unlocks that, and I have the best ability to bring that forth to the.
I agree with both of them on certain things. What about the legislature? Do you work with them?
Yeah, so similarly, the legislature, listen, I've met a lot of state senators and reps across the state. Definitely being with the independent party and cross-endorsing, it gave me an opportunity to meet a lot of them. There are a lot of great people. What I've found is that we agree on easily 80, 90%. And what I've also found is that there's stark disagreements on that 5 to 10%. And what's sad is that when we can't move the whole state forward because we're arguing about partisan politics. So I would ask, what has partisan politics really done for us in the past few decades? I would argue not much, and that's why you need to take a chance at me.
On the police accountability bill, you gave a perspective that's been missing from this debate, quite frankly. It's all been about what is the impact on police. Would you don't have the time limit here. Tell me how important it was for you to get that point across, or was it?
Yeah, no, I think it was really important because, look, again, I have friends and colleagues who are police officers. I understand it's really difficult to do that job, and we need to give them the best tools in order to do that. But for someone who's actually gone through that harrowing experience where someone has their hand on the holster and they're shouting at you, it's scary. And I don't think the average person's ever gone through that experience. I definitely am certain that Ned and Bob have never gone through that experience. And it gives you a different perspective. You realize, you know what? Police need the proper tools for themselves to keep themselves safe. But also the point of the accountability bill is to also keep the communities, especially communities of color, safe. And we need to take a look at trust building across both communities in order to make one. Revise it. I'm a big fan of amend, not repeal. What would you replace it with?
Rob, were you profiled under any occasion? Or?
Yes. In fact, what happened was, and my wife is there to tell the truth, but I'm coming home from work in Bridgeport. Police fly up the street. They're shouting. I didn't think they're shouting at me. I had my bag. And they're like, hey, you with the bag. And I'm like, me? I'm coming from work. And I asked him, do you want to come in for some tea? He thought I was being snarky. And I'm like, no, I live here. But it's scary for him to shout at that. And basically he said, well, why'd you stop me? You fit the description. Oh, I fit the description. But apparently someone down the street had robbed somebody and broke into the house. But, you know, when you have experience, and that's just one of my experiences. I've had a couple others. So, again, when you go through that experience, you realize you take a different perspective on the police accountability bill. And you say, you know what, there are really great parts of this, but you also need other parts of this that you really need to take a look at because they protect communities of color.
What did you make of the governor saying that there's been grandstanding on the police issue, especially in light of the Bristol police officer? Do you see that as well?
Yeah, I think that it's unacceptable to politicize that. We're all feel terrible about those police officers. It's just incredibly, in my opinion, emotional for a lot of people. And then to essentially blame the governor or the legislature or whatever for the lives of officers, that's not the intent. The intent is police officers lost their lives. We need to respect that. But then you look at, okay, how do we make sure our communities are safe, the police are safe? We should leave the politicization out of the way. There's no room for that in a civil society, in my opinion. I think Bob is politicizing the tragedy in Bristol. I really do.
How- and
Your grandfather was a police member, top police guy.
Right.
You come from a police household.
Yeah. So,
and
one more question.
When you say you think, is it because he's running that ad with the, I think she was here tonight.
Yeah. And I understand the pain and that experience, but we really need to take a step back and look at how does this actually help the police? We all understand that we have a problem with crime in Connecticut. We all understand we have a problem with guns. Addressing police accountability won't immediately address the fact that a gentleman had a semi-automatic rifle firing 80 shots at the police. They're not the same thing, and we shouldn't try to conflate those two topics. So I know this gentleman had a question.
Anything that did come up during the debate?
Yeah, I believe that some of the key things that we need to talk about is just ranked choice voting. I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for ranked choice voting. I think what you people have seen this time around is we need more choice. In any industry, choice is critical and important for better outcomes. Having me on that stage changes the whole equation. Bob didn't want me there. He sued. He lost. We won. We're there. And I got to present new ideas, better ideas. So I really think that wasn't addressed. And I think that the voters in Connecticut need to take a serious look at, I am the independent candidate for governor. This 41% of the voting public are independents. We just go together. They vote for me, we get more choice, we get better outcomes.
Did you learn anything new about your opponents tonight?
I think we're hearing the same old stuff. Really, they both have their same talking points. And I heard a lot of ideology. I didn't hear a lot of ideas. They've been spending millions of dollars on TV ads attacking each other. But where are the ideas? How are you moving Connecticut forward? Where are their plans that do it in a substantial way? I don't see it. Especially for Governor Lamont to talk about a looming recession. Well, what's your plan, Governor Lamont, for the recession? Bob, what's your plan for making sure we have a smooth landing out of inflation to a recession? You just keep hearing about inflation. I understand that. But what is your plan? I don't hear them. All right. We're good? Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot.